All right, guys. So 3.2 is all about transformations and talking about parallel and perpendicular lines. So we've been studying slope-intercept form with y equals mx plus b. Today what we're going to talk about is equations and graphs and their shifts. So it says graph the equation y equals x plus 3 and label the line with the equation. Okay, they want us to compare and predict how the line of y equals x plus 1 is going to compare to that of y equals x plus 3. Well, just by looking at that, I have the same slope, right? But what's different is my b. So my y-intercepts are different. So I'm thinking they're going to be the same line, but one's up higher. Okay, one up higher. Okay, and that is technically called a shift up. My line shifts up. Well, let's check. So I have y equals x plus 1. So here's this line, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. The opposite of up 1 and over 1 is down 1 to the left 1, down 1 to the left 1, down 1 to the left 1. Right? I can take my ruler or my straight edge, line up my points, and I'm set. All right? Well, let's check out this other one. I'm going to change my color to purple. Starts at 3 on my y-intercept, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So yeah, it's the same exact line. My lines are parallel. One just moves up. Excuse me, and that's called a shift up. Okay, so now they said my purple line was the x plus 3. Predict how the graph of y equals x minus 3 will compare to the graph of y equals x plus 3. So looking at those two graphs, guys, if I erase this pink one and I leave that purple one because that was my x plus 3, how do you think my graphs will compare if I have an x minus 3? Well, I'm predicting it's going to look the same. It's just a shift down on my y-axis. And what's telling me it's shifting down is my b value. So here I am at -3. My slope is still 1, so up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1. So these lines are the exact same, right? They're parallel. The only thing changing is my y-intercept. Now it says graph the following equations on the same grid and label each line with its equation. So here is y equals -3. We just graphed that. So I guess technically I should probably go in and use a straight edge. So we're at -3, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. I'm going to go ahead and take a ruler and line those points up. Okay, and then they want me to have another line at y equals x plus 1. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this other line and create a new color. And I'm going to say it's blue. Put a dot there so we know it's blue. Up 1 over 1, up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1. I'm going to continue this pattern the other direction. Down 1 to the left 1, down 1 to the left 1. Take my straight edge, and there's my line, right? So it says, were your predictions correct? Why or why not? Yes. My slope stays the same. Which is telling me the steepness of that line, right? So my slope's the same. The only thing changing is my y-intercept. So that's telling me I'm either shifting up or down. Okay. So what is the relationship between the lines? Well, the relationship, they have the same slope. They have the same steepness or slope. Y-intercept changes. So they say write a different equation that would be parallel to the equations in this problem. Well, these lines were all parallel for one reason. They had the same slope. So I know in order for the another line to be parallel to those lines, it has to have a slope of x. I'm going to say x plus 18 because 18 is my lucky number. So it says describe the movement of a line when b is increased or decreased while m is the same. So that's saying my slope's the same. Well, if my b goes up, it's a shift up. And if my b goes down, it's a shift down. All right? go down below. It says graph the equation y equals 2x minus 4. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that in purple or blue. So -4 is my y-intercept. From there, I go up 2 to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1. I'm going to go ahead and grab my ruler and graph it. Okay, so now they want to know if I have a graph with x minus 4, how that's going to compare to this blue line. Well, if we think about it, guys, they have the same y-intercept now, right? They're sharing the same b. So what we need to think about is, okay, how's my line going to look different if I have a slope of just 1 instead of 2? Right, so this blue line technically comes down this way. So what's happening is one graph has a larger slope, right? So one graph will be steeper. Okay, and we call that when my M goes up or down, stretching or compressing. And we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Okay, it says predict how the graph of y equals 1/2 x minus 4 will compare to that of y equals 2x minus 4. I'm going to go in. Okay, I have a spot at -4, going up 2 to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1. Just to get fancy, I'm going to go down 2 to the left 1, down 2 to the left 1. All right, and I am going to get a ruler, connect my spots. Okay, now I'm going to do the other graph. Starts at -4 as well. I go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Okay, so one line is steeper. Which one's steeper? Well, the orange one. Okay, so the term we're going to use is if my slope gets bigger, it stretches. Like a treadmill, an incline, it would stretch up. And if my slope gets smaller, it compresses. So from 1/2 to 2, the black one to the orange one, if I'm just looking at this area here, my graph is getting steeper from black to orange. So that means it's stretching. Okay, so for C, they throw you for a loop. All right, so if I go in here, it says graph 2x minus 4. So here's my -4. I go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. You guys have been great at that. Down 2 to the left 1, down 2 to the left 1. You've been working hard with that. Okay, make your straight edge, get your ruler, draw on your arrows. Well, the next one has the same starting point, so I'm going to go ahead and change my color. Okay, at -4, my y-intercept's the same. But instead of going up 2, this is a negative slope. They go down 2 to the left 1, down 2 to the left 1, or up 2, sorry, down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1, or from -4, they go up 2 to the left 1, up 2 to the left 1. So if I look at this, we share the same y-intercept. The slope, right, went from +2 to -2. So what really just happened, guys, is this negative sign changed it and it reflected. Okay, for D, they want you to go ahead and identify and graph the following two slopes. So black for one, orange for another, and let's do blue for the third one. I'm going to have you guys go to do D on your own. You're going to erase the graph over here. Okay, were your predictions correct? Why or why not? All right, so it says describe the movement of a line when the slope is increased or decreased while the y-intercept is the same. So if my slope gets bigger, that's a stretch. If my slope gets smaller, it's compressed. Okay, and down below, if my m turns negative, so if I go from 2 to -2 for my slope, that's called a reflection. Okay, it says write a line that would be steeper than all the problems in the, steeper than all the equations in this problem. Well, guys, we just need a line that has a slope that's bigger than x. So y equals 18x plus 100. All right. So that is stretching, compressing, shifting, left, right. All right. It says here for this one that consider the equation y equals 2x plus 4. Write a new equation that would transform the graph of y equals 2x plus 4 in the ways described below. I want my slope to stay the same. Okay, so that means we'll have y equals 2x. But I want to shift up 2 units from where I'm at. Well, in order to shift up, that's impacting my b. So if I was at 4 on my y-intercept, I need to add 2 to that, so plus 6. Okay, I want the y-intercept of the equation to stay the same, but I want the line to be less steep. That's my slope. So I get y equals, if I want my slope to be less than 2, let's just say 1x, and my y-intercept needs to stay the same. Leave that as plus 4. I want the line that is parallel to 2x plus 4, but I want the line to go down 7 units. So in order for something to be parallel, it has to have the same slope. So my slope will stay 2 because the steepness is the same, but I'm shifting down 7 units, which means I was at 4. So I need to do 4 minus 7, which is -3. 4 says describe the relationship and transformation of the graphs on the following equations compared to the graph of y equals 4x minus 7. So looking at this, my y-intercept's the same, my slope gets smaller. So this means my slope compressed. All right. B still has the 4x. The difference, though, is it went from -7 to 9. So that means my graph slope is the same, but it shifted up on my y-axis. For C, what changed from 4x minus 7 to -4x minus 7? Well, it reflected. It went positive to negative. In D, I'm sharing the same y-intercept. It was at -7 and now it's at -5. That means it shifted up 2. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I want you guys to go ahead and come down to the homework. We'll do all of this stuff here later. But I want you guys to come down to the homework. I want you to do 1, 2, and 3. All right, so you're doing this first page for homework. And then we will do these charts here tomorrow. Let me know if you need help. Come on to my office hours.